Bust it.
Hello out there, and thanks for joining us on Political Platform on both RAPA and AIT, as well as online platform, talking about if you have downloaded the AIT, the RAPA app, and as well as watching on the YouTube channel, AIT Political Platform, where you can get all that we are talking about and your views through Political Platform at yahoo.com, where you have the opportunity to share with us your views. I can tell you that our mailbox almost got burst overnight as a result of the reactions to Alhaji Yakase's intervention yesterday on the program as our guest on the situation in Nigeria. Of course, we have all the opportunities to come in. I want to really salute those who responded not violently. So many people responded violently. When I mean violently, I mean they are so angry that they are calling names and calling for all manner of making suggestions that are not really good for us. We are not obliged to take those divisive suggestions. What we need to do is canvass your own point, tell us what you believe in, your views, and counter whatever thing that you have heard from the other side in a very civilized and intelligent manner, and they will take your views. Somebody has also suggested to others we should give way to those who listen, the ordinary Nigerians. We should invite ordinary Nigerians to come here and also talk, and not just those who have who we chose as opinion leaders. And we agree. We also agree that we'll be calling on you once in a while, particularly those who are in Abuja. And if I have your phone numbers attached to your messages, if we need to call you wherever you are in Nigeria, or indeed any part of the world where you listen to us, we can take you live on the program when we call you to ask for your opinion. My name is Okiria Agbonsuremi. It does appear that the National Assembly is in a fresh face-off with the executive. The previous disagreements, you know how it happened, which tailed up to the signing of the budget, and everybody thought that, look, this time has come, everybody is now having their hands on the deck, on the same page. But from what happened in the Senate yesterday, as well as the invitation from the House of Representatives to the Minister of Works, Power and Housing, it does appear that we are in a different page altogether. It's like we just flipped the page over to the deeper crisis. Now, we'll be telling you what the Senate has said. And if they carry on with their threat, then our young democracy may actually be in trouble. And the recall process by the people of Kogi West is getting set to really begin in earnest with the Independent National Electoral Commission taking steps. But the Senate said yesterday that the recall process cannot be concluded by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And we have been searching all the laws, including Section 61 of the Constitution, which stipulates the guidelines. And we cannot find any place for the Senate. But the Senate said they will be the one to decide if the recall process is confirmed or not. But we'll be talking to Ita Enang, particularly on the new face-off. Ita Enang is a distinguished senator. He was in the National Assembly for such a long time and is the presidential liaison officer in the National Assembly to the Senate. And we'll be talking to him how he is working to paper the cracks that is existing in the wall in the National Assembly with the executive. My colleagues are here. Adebayo Boduri. Adebayo Boduri, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Okiria. I think Kano was the center of attraction yesterday because a large number of people from across the country converge on that ancient city for the purpose of witnessing the former burial of the late Damasani of Kano and former minister Maitama Sule.
Adebayo, I got so many inquiries, and because we also give room to everybody, no matter how minute the opinion is. some persons were asking, why do you declare a public holiday for the burial of a statesman? A statesman who has contributed, like we had at the early age, he has started serving Nigeria. Do you have to declare a public holiday for? And again, somebody said, I don't know if that is also something we should consider. That this elder statesman who has worked very, very hard, has a lot of respect from Nigerians, and he has indeed represented us at the very, very highest level at the United Nations. Didn't see any medical facilities that is good enough, just as our president, who is also in London. And he goes out of Nigeria. That we use our private jets, our presidential jet, Air Force jet, to go and bring the body down. That the kind of respect we have for elders in Nigeria is hypocritical, because we are selecting the elders that we respect. The elderly people who worked and got pension, and who are dying on the queue waiting for their pension, we don't have regard for them. But we celebrate those who have had this Nigeria on, who didn't do much to better the lives of Nigeria. And when anything happened to them, we begin to run around, throw in all our resources to take care of everything. Some of them end pension till they are dead, and those who actually labored and worked. And when I heard that, I said, well, that is one that we should actually take a look at and begin to democratize the care where we take for elders. While we say that they should take care of those elders who serve very well, we should also look at those elders who, out of no business of theirs or no fault of theirs, have found themselves in a situation where they cannot get their pension after their retirement.
Yeah, I look at this issue from two angles. Well, it is unfortunate that we don't have a social welfare scheme that will address the needs of the needy as well as the elderly people in the society. It is also sad that we don't have good medical facilities that can address critical problems at critical times, as we have just witnessed. But that does not take the shine of the need to honor the Damasani of Kano, the late Alhaji Maitama Sule. At the age of 29, he started serving this country. Before then, he was a teacher, and he plays critical role. And if you look at his life in the last 1 decade, he has devoted his energy. He spoke forcefully and courageously on the need to address critical problems facing this country: issue of economy, issue of corruption, moral decadence, and the vanishing cherished values, and all the rest. He was one of those who were not afraid to speak truth to those in authority. And for the roles he has played over the years, right from the time he became the first minister of petroleum in this country at the age of 29 up to the period he died, is somebody that you cannot consider.
So we should declare a public holiday.
Why is it is I
mean, where the place we are copying from, I mean, those nations where even if the Queen of England dies, even if the President of the United States of America dies, I don't foresee a declaration of a public holiday.
Well,
if we are copying, shouldn't we actually find a way of honoring everybody, honoring people without disrupting the process?
Well, Kano State decided to do that one because Maitama Sule was one of those who laid the basis, the foundation for the development you are having, because he served in the first cabinet of the state under the late Audu Bako.
Dr. Amici Anakwe is also here. Amici, welcome to the
Thank you, Hiria. Hospitals still reject patients that are in critical conditions. You not know till you sample opinion. A poor Nigerian has an emergency, you go to the nearest hospital, even in Abuja FCT, they'll tell you there's no bed space. You have to move with the dying patient at wee hours, and except you have to have a connection to one person who will now make a call through one of the big hospitals before they will create somewhere a space. They'll just have to carve out a space for you. That is the state of our healthcare.
I can give you a practical example of the hospital in Asokoro here, the General Hospital in Asokoro. Is it General Hospital they call it now? I think it's the
Asokoro General Hospital.
District Hospital in Asokoro. How I have seen new mothers sleep on the floor because there is no bed to accommodate those who are coming to deliver. I mean, giving birth to the leaders of tomorrow. I mean, children.
If you give birth in the morning before noon, you are discharged to create room for those that will come. That's the pressure we have.
And the catastrophic effect of it is that there is a shortage of adequate care for those who, in some cases, they go out. In many cases, they go out without any problem. But in some cases, they come back because they ought to have received some
postnatal care, post-surgical care for those with CS.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that is where we are. This is a country where we are shamelessly, I mean, we should be open about it, shamelessly celebrating how our leaders go out there to get medical care. And I want to say that it is not in all cases we don't have. I read the story of the CNN reporter, the Aisha Sese, whose mother was in a hospital from is it from Sierra Leone? Is it from Sierra Leone? She's Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone. Yeah.
The mother was transferred from Sierra Leone to a hospital in Apapa in Nigeria, spent 3 months almost in coma and got revived. And she was visiting here to see her mother in hospital, and she said Nigeria has the best medical facilities that she can get, she can think of in the West Africa sub-region. So I wouldn't know how we don't have faith in our system, and we are not developing our system. That was a private hospital. It could be very, very expensive. Many Nigerians cannot access it. But our leaders don't even have faith in our private hospitals that they go there and take care of themselves. But that is just just by the way. Let's go to our mailbox, politicalplatform@yahoo.com, and then we come to discuss all the other issues we have raised: the National Assembly, the face-off, and the new level of the disagreement with the executive after the mails.
Thanks, Ohiria. Welcome to the mail segment. I'm Amaka Okoro.
And I am Etenikang Akepu. You're welcome. In more reactions to yesterday's analysis, David Aneto from Ogun State says, your guest on the platform was on point. Most politicians calling for restructuring are selfish. Please, how can a man who is not faithful with little be faithful with much? Even with this present structure, what stops the governors from being creative and bringing prosperity to their people? So many of their calls is not sincere. What we need is a restructuring of our mindset. We have issues with our mind as a nation. God bless Nigeria.
And more reactions still pouring in. This one is coming from Andy Owam in Abuja. He says, I listened with keen interest yesterday on how your guest was wimbling and fumbling over the questions you people were throwing at him. For example, he said, we should hold God responsible for creating more people in the north than in the east. I have gone around Castina and I can tell you that the population of people you see in Aba alone in Abia State is greater than the population of the whole Castina. It is only an enemy of Nigeria that will not believe in restructuring. I will suggest that all the states have equal representation and equal allocation and equal rights all over. Then Nigeria will be great. God help us.
More reactions coming in. Steve Aborishade in Kado Estate, Abuja says, your guest on the platform yesterday, Alhaji Yakasei, described the current clamor for the restructuring of the country as a selfish one. Yes, he has a right to his opinion, but he advertently exposed his personal selfishness when he disclosed the number of his children and grandchildren who are graduates. If he had extended his love for education to the children of the ordinary men in his immediate environment, using the instrumentality of the various positions he had held, the population of Amajiris in the north should have been reduced. May God deliver Nigeria from the hands of our hypocritical elites.
And still in that light, Akinyele Balogun from Ogun State says, in all sincerity, I think that Babatanko Yakasai has lost touch with current realities. I can now see why the nation was destroyed by their generation. He is simply afraid of the number of seats that the North will lose in the National Assembly instead of the good of the entire nation. How did the North got those seats in the first instance? Was it not through military riots? It is a matter of time, as the restructuring is looking all of us in the face clearly now.
And Shegun Banso from Kuje in Abuja says, I listened to the crew's analysis on Nigeria's unpreparedness for the future, and I totally align myself with this summation. The truth is that developed countries currently blazing the trail in ICT and technology are barely reaping the benefits of their investment in education. Personally, I feel if Nigeria is to make giant strides in technology, our current pedestrian educational system, with its outdated curriculum, has to be discarded. Then government could now invest heavily in education.
And this is how far we can go on today's mail segment. Do keep sending your mails to us to politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Busted!
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and puts political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Thank you so much for remaining with us on the platform. Let's go right away to the issues in the National Assembly as we examine the threats yesterday by the Senate not to carry on with any confirmation of any request from the presidency until all those issues resolving, particularly around the chairman of the EFCC and such others they are complaining about are resolved. But we hear that a lot of efforts are being made from the presidency to douse the tension, to calm down, and they begin to get everybody to the table to do the appropriate things. It's like we have a fresh road to begin to follow with regard to the executive and the legislature as it happened yesterday.
Well, I don't see it as an abnormality, because it's when it degenerates that you probably have we have a feeling as if we are entering a phase that is not too good for us as a nation. But I think disagreements between one arm of the government and the other is normal in democracy, and there is nothing that we should lose sleep over them. But it is better for us to have an harmonious relationship among the three arms of government: the executive, legislature, and the judiciary.
Let's link up with distinguished Senator Ita Enang. Ita Enang is the presidential liaison officer. He's the one in charge of the link between the executive and the Senate. Thank you so much, sir, distinguished. Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. You are on to political platform on Ray Power.
Yes, please.
Now, tell us what you are doing. How do you immediately react to yesterday's position of the Senate on confirmation of nominees from the president?
Well, the most important thing here is that all the parties are talking about the Constitution. Both parties are talking about the Constitution.
Yeah.
And the issue revolves around what are the constitutional powers of each person. And for me, it is not wise for me to descend into the arena, because my job as a diplomat is to make sure that the interest of both arms in determining the issue is peacefully handled. Therefore, my job will be to make sure that the issues are resolved by the parties on the table. And I will pray Nigerians that as we comment on these matters, let us comment on the issues and not to, because the issues raised are constitutional. The legislature is insisting that it has a constitutional right to do this. The executive also has a position, and it does not descend to the persons of the persons. It is about constitution, right, law, and responsibilities. But for me, and what I'm doing is to make sure that the issue does not go too far without being resolved, because of the shortness of time within which the issues have to be resolved, and because of the fact that we had an agreement that there will be the executive will lay before the National Assembly viaments enable it.
Without trying to really take you into the entire matter, because I know a lot of talks must have been going on. I know how much you have worked very, very hard in the recent past to get things like this resolved. The pronouncement by the acting president on Mango is one of those that really got the senators, they feel very bad about it, that he says they do not need. Can you take us into these laws? Because you're also a lawyer, fortunately for us, into these laws. What is really guiding this? Where is the talk anchored around to resolve who is qualified to be confirmed and who is not qualified to be confirmed in view of, against the background of our laws?
Well, the laws are there. They are not just in the statute books that are there, and it was made by the legislature and assented to. But now it is not the question of what the law is. It is the question is the constitutionality of the laws that is being raised now. It is not the law per se. But like I said, I am not going to descend into it, because my job, I will try to make sure that the issues are discussed and resolved without spending so much time and without raising tension. And
that one makes me to ask you, what steps have you taken in the last 24 hours since this incident?
I have been doing some shuttle. I've been on shuttle, and it will not be appropriate to detail the steps I have taken. But all I'm saying, all I would want to say with respect is that I have taken several and serious steps on it. And what I'm happy about is that each side is talking about the Constitution, and because each side swore to defend it and to protect and defend the Constitution, they are not talking about anything personal at the person of each other. So, and I pray Nigerians commenting on this matter to stay on the issues. A few of the comments I've heard made by some persons in some papers and online this morning and yesterday night may not be very pleasant. I would pray that citizens and individuals, please let us stay on the discussion and let us not make statements that is going to make each side more angry and each side hotter and widen the gulf. We have a duty now. The legislature is going to sit for less than a month, or about a month, and then they proceed on the annual 2-month vacation.
Yeah.
So we have to find a way and gain time for the purpose of considering the environment, so that we considering the environment before the legislature go on break.
Is the executive considering approaching a court for the interpretation of our relevant laws, since the two arms of government appear to be giving it different interpretations?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
Since you also agree and it is a matter of law and constitution, are you recommending, or will you recommend that either of the parties go to court for interpretation?
We had a situation like this in year 2002 under the leadership of Garabana Abba and Oyi of Oyi. And we made the Supreme Court Additional Jurisdiction Act. And in the Supreme Court Additional Jurisdiction Act, we said that any state that has issue can approach the Supreme Court in original jurisdiction. If the National Assembly has issue with the executive, they can approach the Supreme Court, suing the executive.
That's direct without wasting time at the lower courts.
No, you don't. Yes, you don't need to go to the High Court or Court of Appeal. That is, we increased the additional jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. That is, we call that act Supreme Court Additional Jurisdiction Act.
Will you recommend this step?
Well, it is for each of the parties to examine if the issues it is contending is so that it can approach the court for interpretation.
Yes,
it is not appropriate for me.
If you had the opportunity of advising, will you advise it?
Well, when the issues are contentious and both parties are holding on to it, either party can approach the court.
And that's what we
I'm not recommending for the executive to go. I'm not recommending for the legislature to go. But I think one thing is possible that can be done consensually. That is, between two executive and the legislature, there can be a resolution says, look, let us just submit this matter before the Supreme Court in the exercise of the additional jurisdiction, Supreme Court additional jurisdiction. But for now, before we think of any of those options, the urgency of bringing the parties to the table and resolving the issue so that we can consider the environment, and almost all the appointments that are pending, the appointment of the chairman of the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, there are things that cannot be done without. The appointment of the chairman and members of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the board of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the appointment of the managing director and the executive director of
some INEC.
Yes. No. The issues have been dissected. The issues have been separated by the Senate. The Senate. The issue is that anyone that is in the Constitution, like INEC and ambassadors, which are in the Constitution, are being considered and are treated by the Senate. It is those ones that are in legislations, in acts of the National Assembly, in acts of the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is not in the Constitution, or which came into effect after the promulgation of the 1999 Constitution, are the ones that are in contention. Right. So the issues are very fine, and I pray that Nigerians who speak, senior advocates who speak, legislative practitioners who speak, statements that speak, should address the issue so that the parties, and I pray the parties as it is. Right now, the executive and the legislature are staying on the issue, they're staying on the subject, they're staying on the constitution, they're staying on the law. And I want all those who will comment on it to speak and stay on the law. On my part, I would pray that Grace, I would pray for Grace to easily get the matter resolved.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senator Ita Ilang, for joining us on the program. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, from what you can hear from distinguished Senator, we have a long way to go.
We have a long way to go.
The acting president says the Senate does not have the powers to confirm the appointment of presidential appointees except ministers and ambassadors.
Yes.
And he says the refusal of the Senate to confirm Magu is inconsequential. He will remain in office because the Senate lacks the power. The same acting president writes a letter to the Senate asking it to confirm some other person. You have said they don't have the power, yet you still send a letter.
They have distinguished. They said those powers that are stipulated in the Constitution, they don't have problem with it. That is the executive. The executive says they don't have power with those. We don't have problems with those stipulated in the Constitution.
That's the ambassadors and
those
ministers.
ones that come from with the act and the acts of the enabling act setting up. Those are the ones that they feel they don't have. But have they amended those acts?
No. The issue is that the EFCC confirmation is through EFCC Act. The presidency said they don't have it. Yeah. The Lottery Commission Act stipulates that it should be amended, and you're sending that amendment request to the Senate. Well, how do you explain it?
Well, I think. The suggestion, which he also accepted, that let the judiciary intervene, I think it will be good for us. It will also enrich our laws.
All right, that's all we have time for this morning. Wherever, anytime you are listening to us, you're also watching on AIT or you are watching us through our YouTube channel, AIT Political Platform. We have all that, you have all the previous editions of this program are up there for you to watch, and you can go there, AIT Political Platform on YouTube. And you can also listen to radio that directly, your radio set, or you are listening through the app anywhere you are in the world. That's raypowerradio.com. You can also go there to the website and listen. Okay, I'm going to here.
Busted.